Welcome to Hateley Motorsport. Today, we're going to strip down this old 302 because, well, I can't leave well enough alone, and last night I got excited and my wife's out there hitting some wood with an axe, so I'll just give it a second. So last night I got excited and I thought I'd look under the rocker covers, see what sort of springs this thing had. It was a perfectly good running engine. You know, we only had it running for about 10 seconds when we went out and did some donuts in the wet grass, and it seemed to go pretty good. Needed a good tune-up, carby issues, it's been sitting for 20 years. Anyway, I decided to rip the rocker covers off last night, have a quick look underneath there, see what sort of springs it had in it, and you know, if any of the stuff was any good. I've got a habit of breaking springs and popping retainers and stuff on the valve, so thought I'd just have a quick check. That degenerated into me pulling the heads off last night. I thought, well, you know, I might be able to find a bit more compression. CC the chambers. I CC'd one chamber last night. Tonight I was going to CC the rest of the heads. I broke my barrette. Can't do that. So I've gone from just bang this thing in and send it to now we're going to have a bit of a freshen up. We're not going to do anything too serious. We're just going to rip down a bottom end, rip all the gearbox and everything off it, but we're going to put in a bottom end. I'm going to give it a light hone, probably throw some rings and bearings in it, new gasket set, clean it up. I might even change the cam, put a bit nasty cam in it. We'll see. I don't even know what cam's in this thing. Knock some off the bottom of the heads, pop the compression up a little bit. I've talked to a guy about doing that. I'll get that done next week, hopefully, when I suss out what's going on. So right now we're going to strip this 302 down, see if we can find any other damage, see what anything else wrong with it, work out what rings I need, what bearings I need, do a quick hone job, and we'll go from there. Now I would normally do this on my engine crane, but I lent my engine crane to someone else a week ago and I feel a bit bad about taking it back. So we're just going to do it on this old drum here. It's fine, it'll work. It's also -2, Saturday night, so I might go and find a jumper and a heater. Now you probably shouldn't use a rattle gun to undo every bolt of this engine, but I'm going to. Except this one, because I can't get it with everyone. Yeah. These little takeaway plastic tubs make excellent little bolt carriers. Right, that gearbox is going to fall out. I might have to go and get a hand with this one. See, not too bad. Right, this is something else I just come across that annoys the living piss out of me, and I thought I'd talk about it while we're doing it. This is a washer. Not sure what it's even made out of, but it was in the thermostat housing hole instead of a thermostat. Now, allegedly they had trouble with this motor getting hot back in the day. If you're building like our wingless sprints, we run a completely different water setup, and we don't run a thermostat. If you're running a production-based radiator setup in your car, or you know, like just a normal radiator housing, whatever, run a thermostat. It doesn't hurt. Everyone says, oh, but you know, thermostats go wrong. I've been a mechanic for 20 years, and like I might see 2 thermostats a year that play up. I've always run a thermostat in every car I've ever had, and I've never had one let go. In any race car I've ever had, and I've never had one let go. So, and especially on these Clevelands. So these Clevelands have a bypass passage in them. That when the thermostat opens, it shuts the bypass passage off. So this water literally would have been bypassing the whole setup and not actually going through the block. Probably half the reason they had cooling issues, just because they didn't run a thermostat. Just run a thermostat. It's not that hard. They don't play up. They work. Easy, simple. Don't fuck with something if it works. If there was a better setup out there, the car manufacturers would be doing it. Alright, so here's a trick for new players. If you're pulling a camshaft out and you're going to reuse it, the lifters need to go back in the same hole that they come out of. Once they've been used on a cam, they've got to be used on that same lobe. So, when you pull them out, and I just mark them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all the way down. So they go back in the same hole. I'm too lazy to mark them cylinder 1, inlet, exhaust. I just count them from the front. 1 to 8. Right hand, 1 to 8, left hand. one right. Two right, so on and so forth. 8 left. Done, they're all out. Now I'll rip the cam gear off, pull the cam out, rip the oil filter and the mounts off. That's about it. Load the sucker over, pull that new sump off that I made. Waste time putting that on, eh? Anyway, it is what it is. Pull the sump off, drop the rod and pistons out, crank out, give it a hone, clean up the block, give it a coat of paint, put it all back together. So, probably lucky we did pull this apart and check it. That's a cam thrust washer on the front of the camshaft. And when it's been put together, obviously it hasn't been sitting over, it's located properly, and it's actually pulled into the front of the camshaft, front camshaft bearing. I'll rip the cam out in a minute and have a look, see what the cam is, which is half the reason we're doing this, and just make sure it hasn't damaged that cam bearing. If it hasn't damaged the cam bearing, we're good to go. I'll just get another one of these and throw it in. Hopefully we'll get away with it. So far so good. It's all looking pretty reasonable at this point. So we'll rip the sucker apart, drop the pistons and rods out of it, lift the crank out of it, then we can start cleaning it up and putting it back together. Alright, so this is the exact reason I was pulling it apart. And I'm really, really, really glad I did now. So far the motor's in surprisingly good nick. For something that's been sitting for 20 years and God knows who rebuilt it and we don't know anything about it, no history. It's got 10 thou over bearings in the conrods. The bores look pretty good, the pistons are really good. Rings aren't bad, but we'll throw a set of rings in anyway. So we'll throw a set of rings and bearings in it. What I did find though is when I pulled out number 4, so when I pulled out number 4 piston, the bearing's about stuffed. What actually happened, when I undid the cap, a heap of steel shavings fell out. I don't know if you can see that. That whole oil feed for that number 4 piston, see if that'll focus, is full of steel filings. Plastic actually, it's probably a plastic plastic distributor gear or something. There's definitely steel in there as well. Steel and plastic, whatever it is. So, if we had erased that engine, we would have got a little bit of time out of it, but we're really lucky we pulled that apart because that would have shit the tin fairly quickly, I'd reckon. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. But see, there it's just starting to discolour and end up in the backing metal. So we caught it just in time. Yeah, much longer, and the oiling system in these Clevelands leaves a little bit to be desired, and it oils the back half of these last. So probably really lucky we did pull it apart because we caught it before it's done any damage. The crank's in really good nick. I might just give it all a bit of a polish up. I'll see when I get the main bearings out. I'll have a look at them as well. See what they're like. If they're good and the crank's good, yeah, I'll throw some rings and bearings, give it a good clean out. I might have cleaned up a few of the oil galleries and things just to make it flow a bit better and a bit nicer on the bearings. But yeah, that's really, really lucky that we decided to... That I got curiosity got the better of me and I decided to pull the sucker apart because I don't think it would have gone real long if I hadn't have. Alright, that's it. Block is stripped. Put these bearings out. The crank bearings are really good. There was no issues there. So I think it's really lucky that we did check it in the end, just because I found that one issue with the crank being full of swarf and stuff, blocking up that rear rod oil gallery. Still getting oil. It's just that one gallery. It's obviously had some crap through it. It's not too good. Bearing was had it. The crank's in really good nick. The bores are pretty good. I'm just going to give them a clean up with a hone. Hopefully that's all they need. We'll give them a clean up the rest of the block, put a coat of paint over it. I don't know what colour I'm going to paint it yet. We've got black rocker covers and stuff coming for it. I'll probably just black because I'm lazy and I'll just paint it black. I might even paint it red. I'll say give the block a quick hone. We'll clean up some oil galleries and things. Cam bearings are really good. I think we're really lucky that, yeah, it's as good as it is, and I'm lucky that we checked it out. Go from there.